There is a silent epidemic spreading across modern culture. People are mistaking narcissism for confidence, manipulation for empowerment, and vanity for self-love. We are living in a world where arrogance is celebrated, empathy is mocked, and external validation is the new oxygen. What used to be strength of character has been replaced by the performance of superiority. But behind every flawless image and bold proclamation lies something fragile: insecurity wearing confidence as a costume. Today we are going to expose the real difference between healthy self-esteem and narcissism, because understanding it could protect your emotional peace forever. Healthy self-esteem forms the foundation of emotional stability. It means knowing your worth without needing applause. A person with self-esteem respects their abilities while also recognizing their flaws. They can admit mistakes, repair relationships, and improve without feeling shattered. They derive their value from internal principles, internal discipline, and internal honesty. They do not need a spotlight to feel alive. They do not collapse when they are not praised. They are able to say, "I matter and so do you." A balanced ego allows cooperation, empathy, and growth because self-trust replaces the need for dominance. Healthy self-esteem feels like calmness, responsibility, groundedness, and quiet confidence. It does not shrink others in order to stand tall. Narcissism is the opposite. Narcissism depends entirely on how others respond. It craves admiration the way a drowning person craves air. Without validation, the narcissistic personality begins to collapse internally, so it must constantly replenish its sense of superiority. Narcissism is not confidence. It is dependency. It is fragile self-worth dressed in armor. Narcissistic personalities appear inflated, entitled, charismatic, or dominant. But inside there is a deeply unstable identity. They cannot tolerate criticism. They cannot handle accountability. They fear vulnerability because vulnerability exposes emptiness. Where healthy self-esteem grows from internal stability, narcissism builds a performance designed to manipulate external approval. Narcissism does not say "I matter and so do you." It says "I matter and you exist for me." Self-esteem is the ability to love yourself while respecting reality. It allows flexibility, humility, learning, and connection. Narcissism, however, is rooted in fantasy. It depends on illusion. The narcissist must constantly curate how they appear to others. This is why image, status, admiration, and control matter more than authenticity, compassion, or truth. When faced with failure or imperfection, healthy self-esteem adapts, but narcissism defends. A healthy mind says "I am human." A narcissistic mind says "I cannot be wrong." Rather than evolve, it attacks. Rather than reflect, it deflects. Rather than learn, it blames. Here is where many people become confused. Narcissism can look like confidence at first. The difference is not apparent on the surface. Healthy self-esteem moves quietly, but narcissism moves loudly. Healthy self-esteem wants connection. Narcissism wants admiration. Healthy self-esteem respects boundaries. Narcissism resents them. Healthy self-esteem is built slowly through discipline, self-awareness, and experience. Narcissism is constructed as a shield against shame and internal emptiness. Confidence stays grounded during silence. Narcissism collapses in silence and must be fed with attention, drama, or domination to stay intact. Another major difference is emotional capacity. A person with self-esteem can empathize with others because their emotional world is not consumed by insecurity. They can see someone else as real, separate, worthy, and important. A narcissist cannot. Other people are not individuals with thoughts and emotions. They are tools, mirrors, or threats. Narcissism uses relationships as a supply line, not as a bond. When people say narcissists cannot love, it is not an insult. It is a structural truth. Love requires two whole people meeting each other honestly. Narcissism cannot allow emotional equality because equality threatens the illusion of superiority. Now pause for a moment. Notice how often modern culture celebrates narcissistic traits as success, strength, or excellence. People are taught to win at all costs, to dominate, to constantly advertise their worth, to never admit fault, to groom every aspect of their identity for external approval. The rise of image-based validation has turned self-obsession into entertainment and admiration into currency. Many people have never seen real confidence, so they mistake narcissism for power. They have never seen real humility, so they mistake authenticity for weakness. Self-esteem is internally rooted. Narcissism is externally fueled. A person with self-esteem takes responsibility because accountability does not threaten their identity. They can say "I made a mistake" without collapsing into shame. They do not require perfection to feel worthy. In contrast, a narcissist avoids responsibility because accountability threatens the false self. If something goes wrong, the narcissist must blame someone else to protect the illusion of flawlessness. They twist truth, rewrite history, or emotionally manipulate others to maintain superiority. Healthy self-esteem stands on stable ground. Narcissism stands on a stage with trapdoors. There is also a difference in how these two mindsets handle relationships. A person with self-esteem seeks mutual respect, honesty, and emotional safety. They are capable of intimacy because they do not fear being seen. They allow others to have needs, perspectives, and autonomy. A narcissistic individual does not relate, they control. They condition people to revolve around them. They use admiration as fuel, and when admiration slows, they punish, discard, or emotionally sabotage others to maintain dominance. Relationships become psychological cages that must orbit their ego. Real love cannot breathe in such an environment. Motivation also reveals the contrast. Self-esteem motivates from self-respect. It is a desire to grow, to create, to contribute, to live with meaning. Narcissism motivates from insecurity. It is a desire to dominate, impress, or win in order to silence inner shame. One pushes forward from fullness. The other pushes forward from emptiness. Healthy confidence seeks mastery. Narcissism seeks superiority. That difference may seem small, but it changes everything. One builds character. The other builds a throne. Some people believe narcissism is self-love, but it is actually self-avoidance. Healthy esteem requires vulnerability and honesty. Narcissism avoids those things completely. The narcissist cannot afford to meet themselves truthfully because beneath the grandiosity is a deeply unhealed self that formed long before adulthood, usually in childhood environments filled with neglect, conditional love, humiliation, or emotional abandonment. The inflated personality is a psychological bandage crafted to survive pain, but a defense mechanism is not genuine self-worth, no matter how loudly it markets itself. One of the clearest markers of healthy self-esteem is emotional regulation. A confident person can tolerate disappointment or disagreement without exploding or collapsing. They remain centered because their identity is not threatened by challenge. A narcissist reacts as if contradiction is an attack, because their ego structure is brittle. If you remove admiration from a narcissist, they begin to fracture. If you remove admiration from someone with self-esteem, they remain what they already were. Let us take a deeper look into how this plays out socially. People with healthy self-esteem can uplift others. They are not threatened by talent, success, or confidence in another person. Narcissism, however, cannot share space. It competes constantly. It needs to be the smartest, the most right, the most admired, or the most praised in the room. If someone else shines, the narcissist experiences it as a theft of identity. Instead of saying your success inspires me, they feel your success diminishes me. This is the core reason narcissistic individuals often sabotage others rather than collaborate. Now imagine two people standing side by side. One walks with quiet assurance. The other demands that everyone notice them. One grows from inner security. The other survives on external supply. One builds peace. The other consumes it. One generates connection. The other extracts energy. This is why you can leave a conversation with a confident person feeling uplifted, but leave a conversation with a narcissist feeling drained. True self-worth nourishes. Narcissism siphons. The next time you are unsure whether you are seeing confidence or narcissism, observe how the person treats humility, honesty, equality, and boundaries. Confidence respects those things. Narcissism resents them. Confidence leads forward. Narcissism must remain above. Confidence is rooted. Narcissism is theatrical. When admiration disappears, narcissism panics. When admiration disappears, confidence remains calm. In the end, narcissism is a never-ending hunger, but self-esteem is a stable foundation. Self-esteem says I am secure enough to be real. Narcissism says I must be admired to exist. One can connect. The other can only extract. One grows. The other protects. One allows truth. The other survives through illusion. This understanding matters because it allows you to choose what kind of person you want to be and what kind of people you allow near your emotional world. Healthy self-esteem is built through self-honesty, discipline, emotional accountability, and self-compassion. Narcissism is built through fear, shame, and avoidance. The choice between the two is the difference between inner peace and a lifelong search for validation that never ends. True confidence does not need to shout. It grows quietly from truth, humility, and self-respect. Narcissism, however, is a constant performance, loud, demanding, and hollow inside. The world will keep confusing the two, but you do not have to. Learn to see who values growth over control, connection over admiration, honesty over appearance. And remember, genuine self-worth never harms others to survive. It builds, it uplifts, and it heals. If this breakdown helped you understand the psychology behind narcissism and real confidence, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Psychanatomy for more deep and eye-opening insights.